Hello and welcome to Strange Tales. I'm Professor Ron Williams. Freystrop lies quietly south of Haverfordwest, an ancient farming village, and, if some are to be believed, a place which holds echoes of the unseen. Among the families who made their lives there were the Yos of Clayston Farm. At the heart of that family was Joseph Yo, a man remembered not for wild tales or fanciful notions, but for his solemn character and gentle ways. Joseph lived a life shaped by faith and duty. Born in the late Victorian era, he grew up to eventually farm the land at Clayston with his wife Eliza. He conducted the chapel choir for decades, save for a brief and quietly controversial spell, leading the church choir. He didn't drink, didn't swear, and he read his Bible each day. His grandson Ronnie Pounder, raised by Joseph and Eliza, often said, "Granfer Yo was a straighter man as you'd find." Which is why the two stories Joseph would share with the young Ronnie left such a lasting impression. The first story happened when Joseph was just a boy. It was a Sunday morning, and he was walking alone to chapel, dressed in his best. Whether he was headed for Middle Hill Chapel or the church at Lower Freystrop remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is what he saw, or tried to see. As he ambled along, he spotted ahead of him on the road 3 young girls, also dressed for chapel. Joseph picked up his pace, hoping to join them. But no matter how quickly he walked, the distance between them remained unchanged. Growing frustrated and confused, Joseph broke into a run. The girls turned a bend in the lane. Joseph sprinted to catch them, but as he rounded the bend, they had vanished. There was no side path, no gate, no hedge large enough to conceal them. The road was empty. They seemed to have vanished into thin air. In the quiet of that Sunday morning, the young Joseph stood alone, breathless and unsettled. He could not work out what had happened. They were there, and then they were gone. The incident really shook him. Years passed, but the memory of that very odd Sunday morning never faded. The second incident was stranger still. Joseph was a grown man by then, likely living at Clayston, but possibly at Mount Pleasant on the Moorland Road. The day had started without incident. It was another day on the farm. The sun was shining and there was broad daylight. Joseph was working outside when the familiar sound of the hunt approached. He heard the hounds barking, the pounding hooves of horses, and the voices of huntsmen all echoing down the road. The sound grew louder, seemingly getting closer and closer. It came directly toward him, then passed right in front of him. But nothing was there. He saw no horses, no dogs, no riders, only the clear, unmistakable sound of the hunt traveling past on an empty road. The loud, clear, unmistakable sound of the hunt, heard, but unable to be seen. Joseph couldn't fathom out what he had just witnessed. It didn't make sense. Things like that were not meant to happen. It left him trying to make sense of it for the rest of his days. Strangely, Joseph's experience is not unique in Welsh folklore. In several places across Wales, phantom hunts have been reported, often linked to spectral figures such as Arawn, lord of the otherworld, or the mythic Cŵn Annwn, ghostly hounds said to roam the hills at night. In Carmarthenshire and parts of mid-Wales, villagers have told of the Gabriel hounds, or wild hunt, passing unseen but clearly heard. A chilling cacophony moving through the countryside. These tales, passed down through generations, match Joseph's account closely, suggesting that whatever he experienced might be part of a much older and stranger tradition. Joseph didn't often speak of these things, but he told these tales to his grandson. If it had been anyone else, Ronnie would say, "I wouldn't have believed them." But this was Granfer Yo. For a man so rooted in reason and faith to have shared such stories meant I could only believe every word completely. In Freystrop, not all the ghosts look like flying, white bed sheets. Some walk and look like you and I, only to vanish without trace. And then there are others who thunder by, in sound alone. In life, sometimes the quietest men carry the strangest truths. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. We would also love to hear from you if you have had a similar experience. Please tell us about it in the comments below. Until next time, goodbye.